Welcome back to Open. I'm your host, Daren Jaime. Longtime Bronxite Lynn Sanchez has announced her candidacy for the City Council with the hope of improving District 14, which is comprised of Fordham, Kingsbridge, Morris Heights, and the West Bronx. In recent years, she's worked closely with Settlement Parents Action Committee to improve education in our community, as well as the Coalition for Educational Justice to bring about policy change in all 5 boroughs. We're pleased to have her come here today and be with us. And Lynn, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I guess the question on the hearts and minds of Bronxites is, why you? Why now?
Well, I'm very progressive. I want to make a change. I want to see things change. I want better for the district. I've done some work in the district when it comes to education, school safety issues, along with the Dignity in Schools Coalition. And I feel that now is my time to step into the arena and make some change.
When you look at the area that encompasses a lot of businesses is in that area, a lot of residential things going on in that area, questions about residential development and housing go on. How would you pursue residential development, housing, or just give us your take on it for what you see in your district right now?
Well, I would, it ties in with economic development, and something that I wanted to see is a lot of new buildings, new businesses come up, and I want to make sure that Bronxites are at the table when it comes to hiring, that Bronx residents are being hired and that they're doing this work. That's one of my ideas.
You talked a little bit about landlord corruption too.
Yes. Making sure the tenants know their rights, right? And making sure that tenants and Bronxites are protected at Bronx Housing Court. I hear a lot of different things, also part of CASA, New Settlement CASA, and the whole Bill of Rights for tenants, making sure that folks know what their rights are, how to defend themselves, make sure that, that they have that representation that they need.
When you look over the district right now, what would you say is the most imperative need if you were elected in office? What would you go down to city council and say, this is what my district needs first and foremost?
Education, tenant, the tenant rights, and also stop and frisk. Education, the Bronx has the highest number of student dropouts, the highest number of schools that are failing. So making sure that kids in the district, in the Bronx in general, not only District 14, that we're at the table with the Department of Education, making sure that the Bronx is getting the attention it needs, whether it's District 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, but that the kids are being educated and then being prepared for college and going to college.
You've worked a lot with the Coalition for Educational Justice,
Yes.
and you spent some time there. How has that helped to shape your framework or your thought process when it talks about dealing with education as far as New York City school students are concerned?
Well, it's hard dealing with the Department of Ed and their whole thought process and philosophy, and it's hard, when you come to the table and you make these beautiful presentations to them and you say this is what needs to go on in the district and what should be happening in schools, they throw you their language. You ask them questions and they're very evasive. They don't give you answers, and what I want to see is, at least coming from me as a city councilwoman, that pressure, that making sure that they are held accountable for the work, for things that need to go on. So, it's hard dealing with the Department of Ed.
Some people would say, why the city council? Why now for you?
Why city council? Why now? I'm young. City council, I want to make a change. I mean, it could be any other position, but city council, because I'm prime in the district, I have a family, so I want to make sure that I'm in New York City. I want to make sure that I'm helping people as a whole. That's why city council now. I want to make a positive change. I want to help everyone as much as I can.
When you look at the borough of the Bronx, obviously the unemployment rate is one of the highest amongst all 5 boroughs, and it still remains the highest among all 5 boroughs. Do you have some sort of ideas that you might want to bring to the council in terms of dealing with this unemployment rate, which I ask every person that comes here because, I've been here for years, and the numbers seem to get better, but they also remain the same, and I'm asking, who has the plan? Could it be you?
Could it be me? It could be, maybe, I don't know. But it's simple, right? Sitting down with corporations, sitting down, bringing ideas into the district, bringing plans into the district, better said, sitting down with the current business companies that you have, the small owners, the supermarkets, the developers that are in the district, making sure that we're at the table with them, working and making sure that Bronxites are at the forefront, making sure that our community are the ones that are being employed.
All right, so let's go here. If people want to help out with the campaign, you've got some people that you're trying to get involved in the campaign, or people want to find out more about you, what do they do?
Go on to www.lynnsanchez.com, or I'm also on Facebook, Lynn Sanchez for City Council, as well as you can call me at 646-696-4056.
Say that number again.
646-696-4056.
All right, just want to get that number out there. Now, all the stuff that you've done before, we talked about in the beginning of the intro. We talked about the Coalition for Educational Justice, Settlement Parent Action Committee. Give us a little bit about how all of this has actually helped you. I mean, do you feel like the stuff that you've done has helped you for the moment that you're in right now?
I feel that the things that I have done have helped me up to now, but also, you know, networking with folks, being out there in certain spaces and seeing how certain people work. But then as well, I follow politicians, right? So I'll sit in front of a computer and I'll listen to an example, Gustavo Rivera in one of, up in Albany when he's talking about an issue. I follow Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson. I want to see what they're doing. And if you're not doing enough, then I'm going to question you. And I think this is something that everybody should be doing because they're there for us, for all Bronxites. So I feel that, yeah.
So give me this. No problem. You said you question. You know, you look at stuff and then you question. What are some of the key questions that come up for you after watching the politics of the borough, if you will?
Well, just finding out why are we in 2013 and still in somewhat of a same situation? Why is the unemployment number has not gotten up? And certain people have been in politics for numerous years. Why our schools are still failing? That goes for politicians as well as the Department of Ed. So, you know, just trying to find out why is the Bronx to me it's why we're not getting the attention we need, right? Why are we not flourishing the way we should be growing? There has to be more trainings for folks, more. The question is why? Why are we still where we're at and not improving?
How would you answer the question? Somebody looks and says, this is a beautiful young lady who's here. She wants to engage in the political process. Normally when we see politicians, we see the older crowd, the older demographic. You're a young person that says, listen, I have this desire to want to enter the political arena. Why have you gravitated to politics and at such a young age?
Good question. I guess I've always had an interest for politics. You know, coming from attending school at Pace University, majoring in political and poli-sci. It's always been an interest, but it's always been a genuine interest to help people. I want to make sure that people in the Bronx are helped, that we are growing like we should be.
So we talked about if you make it in. Now, if you don't make it in, what are your plans?
I will continue working with the community, continue working on education, on the stop and frisk issues, on housing issues. So it's not that, you know, because I don't make it in, I'm going to feel sad and that's it. I'm going to continue working with the community, helping people out. That's what I plan on doing.
Before we wrap up, you mentioned stop and frisk. What bothers you the most about stop and frisk?
The racial profiling, how NYPD is trying to protect themselves, basically. They know they're doing wrong and they are not admitting to it and not trying to, you know, they're trying to find a way to change things, but not quick enough. And how, you know, why are all these NYPD officers being thrown in certain parts of the districts of the borough opposed to being thrown out equally? And the racial profiling, I mean, anybody could be standing in front of their building, and I've seen it myself, young kids standing in front of their buildings, just having a conversation, police officers come up and they start searching them and asking them questions. Why? Why are we doing this to our youth?
All righty, well, Lynn Sanchez, you gave us a lot of information. And you can find out more about her at lynnsanchez.com. Thank you for coming to Open.
Thank you.
And as the campaign season continues, I know we'll have you back here.
Definitely.
All righty, Lynn Sanchez, stay right there. Got to take a quick break, but guess what? When we return, we're going to move things along and find out about Research Awareness Month. We'll explain it all right after this.